Episode 18, Content Coalition. I have Dallin Nead, and he talks a lot about videos and storytelling. He's worked with some incredible brands. It was really, really great to connect with him when we got to nerd out a little bit on video production, which is super fun. But at 7 minutes and 45 seconds, he talks about the roadmap that he takes his clients on to create their story and how he's going to go through the video production journey with them, as opposed to making like one video and that's the end of that. He goes through the roadmap of like, what's the whole story look like? And he kind of gives away the farm on that one. At about 11 minutes and 50 seconds, he talks about the most important video that his clients make. And that's the origin story. And he kind of breaks that down around there. And then at 23-ish minutes, he talks about the best tips and how to go live. It's super terrifying to go live if you haven't done it before. And if you're already a pro, then that's awesome. But for those of you who struggle a little bit on seeing that red dot and knowing everybody's watching, he goes ahead and kind of gives you some great tips on how to get through that like a stone cold champ. So go watch the episode. I'm Shayna. I love dogs, I trip a lot, and I happen to have a knack for making pretty sweet videos for businesses. But the more videos we made, the more questions I got about how video and other content can be leveraged to make a bigger impact in their marketing. I mean, 44% of marketers say that producing content is their biggest challenge, yet content marketing is 62% less expensive than outbound and produces 3 times more leads. Now, I know a lot, but I certainly don't know it all, so I made it my mission to talk with content kings, queens, and bosses to learn as much as I could about crushing content marketing, and I'm taking you along with me. Welcome to the Content Coalition. Hello, Content Coalition. Shayna here. Thank you for coming back and checking out another episode. And today I have Dallin Nead of Content Supply. Dallin, say hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Dallin, tell the folks who are listening and watching who you are and what you do.
Yes. Well, I'm Dallin, and I am a story seller. I love to help people sell their offers with story. And the amazing thing and why I love that is because story is what makes us different. And if not better than our competition, because if we're actually willing to share and publish our story, then we can get noticed and sell things. And so that's what we want as entrepreneurs. And so I do that by way of video. So a lot of video marketing for influencers, for entrepreneurs, online businesses to get noticed and get their products and services out to the world.
Awesome. So Dallin is a marketer after my own heart because I evolved out of the video production for like content strategy game. And I was super excited to have him on the show because I was going through Content Supply and I was like, oh my gosh, I could totally
We were geeking out a little bit.
I know. It's amazing. So like, I love that they don't just start from like the film your stuff and then let's figure out how to use it. It's actually like storytelling first and knowing what that narrative is going to be before you just start pressing record and filming content, which is something that I think that is a little scary for people because first of all, pressing record is scary for people in general. Let's be honest, but, knowing what your story is in advance to doing that, I think is a hugely important and a lot of times overlooked part of creating content. So I'm excited to talk about that today for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay. So how did you, just real quick, how did you get started in video and what led you up to Content Supply?
Oh man, that is not a real quick answer.
I know, right? In 5 seconds. Go.
Yeah, in 5 seconds. Here we go. So I'll jump through kind of clip notes. When I was little, I picked up a camera. It was tape based then. I was definitely one of those kids who did that, wanted to be the next Steven Spielberg. But I actually got really like sidetracked as I got older because I got told both like just from all these places that creativity, being a creative person, filmmaker, a storyteller wasn't a viable career. You couldn't make money at it. Definitely one of those stories. And because I got told that, I started going the more like secure route in air quotes. I studied IT in college. I was going to be an IT guy because I was like, I love tech. That's fun. I hated it. I didn't connect with the classes. I had plenty of experiences where I'm like, red flag, but I wasn't self-aware enough or, I didn't honestly, like I call it owning my story. Like I wasn't owning my story because what I wanted, my dream was to tell stories by way of video. And so, enough was enough. I was so miserable studying IT, but I was too far into it that I was like, hey, how about I create a feature film? And so I wrote and directed feature film, released it theatrically, sold out multiple theaters. And it was pretty insane experience, but I remember sitting there in the premiere in the front row, nervous, crazy. Here's this introverted kid, putting myself out there. And yeah, it was an okay, profitable release, but it was profitable. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I was told all this time that you couldn't make money with this thing. And so that was really like a turning point and an epiphany for me that I was like, hey, I got to lean into this. And so I did. And, I quickly graduated, landed a job at Princess Cruises at their headquarters, producing videos for like over 40 cruise ships, thousands of employees around the world, and it was really incredible. And then I quit. I loved that job, and then I quit. It's weird, right? It's because I found that I loved entrepreneurship better, and that there was a lot more autonomy and freedom. And I was attracted to that dream lifestyle of being able to experiment and meet and interact with a lot more people, and also definitely not be limited on your growth. Because like I mean, this is a whole nother story, but anyways, I mean, I got to travel the world and to tell stories through by way of the cruise lines, but I don't know, there's still something missing. Like I got promoted a couple times, pay raises, like this is nice, but I was like, nah, it's not about this. Like I need something more to kind of fill my value bucket, I guess. And so I was moonlighting content supply on the side, and then I quit about 9 months ago, and been doing this full time.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Right on. So, who are you trying to help? I mean, obviously every business needs video, but who's like the people who touch your soul that you want to be like, please let me help you?
Yes. The unheard and unseen and kind of best kept secrets of their industries. Typically they're influencers or aspiring influencers who are like, I've done so much myself. I've built up like attention to what I offer, but I'm overwhelmed, overworked, and I want to be more hands off. And so we step in, implement a full scale content plan to help them be hands off and to be more seen and to be recognized as the expert in their industries. And we do that by way of video first, and then we repurpose that.
Hey,
yeah.
All right.
Shane and I we met at the right time.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay, so then high level, because I know we're going to dive into like the storytelling portion, but like as far as like creating a plan that you're saying for their content, what does that generally consist of, just from the top?
Yeah, we begin with story. We first want to understand like, well, what for you personally, because a lot of them are personal brands, a lot of our clients, personally, like what is it that you want out of your life? Like what are your dreams? What are your goals? And how can we use our services to support that? And so we start high level, and that builds out their story, their origin story, their business. And then we break that down into like, okay, what are your goals? And then what are the offers you have in your business that support those goals? And then how can we create content to get to those offers, to get to the goals, to get to the, like it's all like this spider web of connection. But yeah, and that's how we build out content. So we create video first, and then we repurpose that into many other types of content for more traffic. But yeah, it's all built around story, and there's actually a process that we walk through called story therapy. And It sounds like really woo-woo, but it's not. I mean, I have no therapeutic or like therapy background whatsoever, but I just know by asking questions, listening, and talking about what we want and what our stories are, it's very therapeutic for our business and ourselves. And so that's kind of what the title I gave to it. And it's a fun part of the planning process to pull out our stories.
That's awesome. There's a much earlier episode of the Content Coalition where we interviewed Veronique James, and she owns an agency, and they work mostly with boutique hotels. And the first thing that her team does is they sit down and they figure out the story. Like everything else is irrelevant until they figure all that out. So like, and one thing that like I've learned, and especially like through her and her team, how she was mentioning is, sometimes it's hard to come up with your story, even though you lived it, or at least how to portray it. Like, how do you get that out of people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it goes back to, I know it goes back to asking ourselves, like, at what point was there a turning point in our story? Like I mentioned, for me, my epiphany was the moment I sat in that theater and I was like, well, wait a minute. I was told all this time the conflict in my life was all these internal and external forces that were telling me that I couldn't make money and this wasn't profitable. And so I had an epiphany there where I began to make different changes and go on this new journey. And so I think recognizing at what point did we have an epiphany or a change in course, and digging deeper to understand, well, what is truly our why? Like, if at the end of our lives or end of our career, whatever it looks like, if we were to accomplish or live this one dream, this one thing, what would that be? And that dream needs to serve two things. It's got to serve a transformative dream, something that's like internal and like fills our soul, so to speak, that like fulfills us that way. And then the other side is like achievement, like accolades, and like, hey, maybe we want to be a millionaire. Like that's cool. There's nothing wrong with wanting that, right? I'm sure we all want that. But like, it is recognizing and being aware enough of what we want, and then can we remove the roadblocks that are keeping us from those dreams? And typically, like, as we break down these story beats, it produces many opportunities for types of content and videos. First and foremost, the origin story video, which is especially for my personal brand, as supported by Content Supply, but is the origin story video is like what we lead into, because that is like the one video that was just going to position you as an expert more than anything else.
What does that origin story video need to consist of? Is there a formula? Is there a certain length, a certain like ebb and flow of the story? Like, to break that part down.
Yeah. We definitely focus on having like a 3 to 5 minute time span, so to speak, but opportunities for it to be cut up in little pieces. So repurposed. I'm just going to say that word.
No, that's fine. Say it as many times as you
resonates. It resonates, right?
The more the merrier.
And so it's definitely to hit on the emotional beats that resonate most with your customers, because the origin story is not ultimately about the person whose story is in the video. It's about the customers and how they can see themselves in the shoes of you, sharing your origin story. Because when they can do that, then they're going to buy from you. They're going to be converted. They're going to follow you to the ends of the earth. And I've seen that work really well with many of our clients. Is they're willing to be vulnerable, put themselves out there, and to share that story. And it's going to be a very personal side of you, and it's going to be hard to share.
That's hard sometimes. It's hard to be that transparent and honest, but that's what people resonate with. Even for me, I tell people to do it, and I struggle with like sharing like the whole story sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Well, and there's definitely, there's truly hard things that are hard to that are definitely hard to share, but I think timing's important to figure out like when is best to share certain parts of it. But hands down, like the origin story side, we can definitely get to that much sooner. And I think many of us have false beliefs around our stories not being good enough,
until you are the millionaire, right?
Yeah.
Then I can tell the story of how we got here.
There we go. Yeah, just wait till you're the millionaire and then tell the story.
That's fine. Eventually it'll work and happen. So, what's funny is a lot of Russell Brunson's stuff is starting to pop up in my head. Like, it's very much the perfect webinar in my head, like how it's resonating. You do work with ClickFunnels, or you have, right?
Yeah, I have. I've only done one. I've done one ad for them, but I used to work a lot with their current VP of marketing now.
Gotcha. Very cool.
So definitely like his terminology. I mean, it's, honestly, the concepts and the terminology behind storytelling has always been around. So like, I don't think we can really point it to who originated with the idea, the concept. I'm like, we've all heard, people always reference like cavemen and this and that, but it's like, there's no secrets to it. It's more just like, well, how can we help people pull it out? Like how can we help people actually publish it? And so it definitely, and that's a cool thing too with like when we can document and understand what our origin story is for all of our own businesses, then it doesn't just have to come in video form. We can put that in our email marketing, in our webinars, like you mentioned, podcasts, blog. I mean, it's all across everywhere that we can use our origin story.
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
we just kind of document it and make it happen.
Right on. Okay. So in addition to the origin story, what other pieces of video or content do you make sure they do?
Yeah. So start with that foundation. And then I kind of like to call it the Oprah effect a little bit. I know that term's used, with Oprah, she's kind of like the Pope, right? She touches something and immediately it's blessed or gold, right? And people want it. So think of Oprah's journey. When she, before she became super popular, she definitely came from a very difficult background. And as she owned and shared and published that origin story about herself, and then she created a platform by way of her TV show that created the opportunity for other people to also open up and to share their stories as she continued to share hers. And so naturally from that origin story publishing moment, we then create a TV show for these influencers because there's no better way to show up consistently beyond than just a paid ad here and there during your launches, to show up consistently in a way that you can provide value through sharing additional stories, because you have many more stories beyond just your origin story to share, because they're happening every single day. And so we create a platform and a framework for entrepreneurs to follow, like a TV show framework to create ongoing content for a social media show.
So it's just themselves talking, or are they interviewing? Kind of like
it's both. Yeah. And like this is a form of a show for sure. So it's dependent on like for sure the type of person or how their audience consume content. But yeah, it's that show format of how can we have like a core piece of video content and then repurpose that into I'm giving you a look every time I'm like, and repurpose wink that into many more pieces of content. Yeah.
Awesome. Right on. Okay. So that's interesting, because a lot of, at least the vast majority of video production companies that I have been privy to are just, the problem is it's like a one and done kind of deal. Like you create a couple of pieces of video and then you say, okay, you need to keep on creating stuff. And then there's no real accountability or game plan on how to make that happen. So actually saying like, no, you are going to continue to tell your story consistently. So you are still consistently creating pillar content that you can then, say it with me, repurpose. That is really unique to what you're doing, because it's essentially, the full game plan instead of just the one thought of let's make a pretty video that maybe has a good message that hopefully you get 1 million hits on YouTube with, So I was really excited to see that you had a bigger game plan than just create content and then fly, little birdie fly,
Yeah. Which is where many filmmakers start.
Right.
You know this, like, we both know a lot of filmmakers. We've probably been there, and we got to realize like it's not like running paid ads and doing those ads is incredible, and there's many companies who are incredible at that. But I definitely know there's a long-term play and a short-term play when you can create that pillar content or that show. That way you're literally showing up like, I don't know, like Seinfeld. That's a little dated now, but whatever your favorite TV show now is, or talk show host, and you can just show up consistently. And, there's no better way to do that than creating your own show.
Yeah. So then, for people who are listening who are like, okay, I could totally talk about my story, no problem. Like, what are your tips on how they can do that themselves without hiring a production company? No offense. But,
No. Like, it's funny too. Like, you're totally fine, because like once we're totally in the same boat. For those who maybe don't have like the funding, or like they're not at that level yet, or even if you're at that level, we even start with people simply of just like, hey, you're going to DIY the filming yourself because you have the tools, or you can care less if it's a pretty picture, it's from your webcam. And we walk through our system, or just simply create a simple schedule for yourself to, like, every Tuesday at the same time or every day at the same time, go live on Facebook, go live on Instagram, like where your audience spends their time, and just start getting comfortable. Like, especially if you're starting out. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of closeted or self-proclaimed introverts like I am out there who are like, I freak out when I hit record. It's so hard to talk and I ramble. And just to fight with those and hit record, publish, don't think about it. And it may be completely unedited. And whether one or a million plus people see it, the important thing is you gotta practice publishing. If you ultimately, like, if that's a dream for you to be more of an expert and recognized in your field, you know, not the best kept secret, you got to be willing to publish, and there's no better way to do that than just publish and use, like, the best tool you have to publish is the one you have on you, and that's usually phone.
Yeah, isn't it incredible? I tell people, like, there's a course that I train on how to film with your phone, because it is what it is, and we have these incredible tools in our pockets now, and it blows my mind that the capabilities of phones now are more vast than the cameras I was spending thousands of dollars on like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, what is happening?
It's funny. And I think if, you know, at first, you know, with being an artist, you're like, oh, you know, you got to have the best camera. And I love tech. Like, I love the gear, but most people are never going to notice the difference. Or when they do, they're like, oh, that's so cool. But they, you know, like, they're still going to hire based on what results can you get me, and do I like you? Do we have a relationship? And so, I mean, if you're a filmmaker listening to this, like, recognize that you probably heard it before, but gear doesn't matter. It's going to be dependent on the relationship and what results you can get.
Absolutely. And it's like, as far as gear goes, as long as it's lit well and the audio is not terrible, like, you can't really go wrong, truthfully.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even with your phone, it's just go in the shade somewhere and film something, and, you know, attach a $20 mic to the phone and you're fine.
Yeah.
As much as it breaks my heart
so
to say
simple.
that out loud.
I know. Versus, like, we can start throwing all the term, you know, like the right lens, cinema lens, and
you need to shoot red every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4K, 8K, 20K.
I know it's funny because, but, you know, most of the, and we were talking earlier, like, the selfie style video performs better on social over the super highly produced stuff. So it's like, you don't need a 4K camera to shoot selfie style. You know, you can even shoot a 4K on your phone. It's just going to take a while to upload to Facebook. So, you know,
yeah, there we go.
Whatever. So you were talking about going live and creating, like, doing it the same time every day or every week or whatever it is, how often you're going to do it. Was live hard for you the first couple times? Live
it's still hard sometimes.
For me.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to, like, being able to cut and produce and trim it so it's perfect. So going live for me was like, I was having a panic attack, and I like being in front of the camera.
Oh, no, it's still hard sometimes, because, like, it's kind of like with anything that's impromptu, like, whether you prepare thoughts or not, or, like, sometimes, like, I should go live right now, but I don't know what to say. Like, what do I talk about? And you start to ramble because you don't have organized thoughts. And like, I would say, like, that's okay. You'll get better. Like, I'm still working on it. Like, you can watch some of my videos right now, and I'm just like, who's this guy that's just rambling? I'm like, hey, I'm just practicing. Like, you know, like, I've been behind the camera for so long. Like, I'm just practicing. But it is, we just got to get sharing and connect with our audiences better. And we do that by just hitting live and rolling with the punches.
Do you have any tips on people who are just starting to go live?
Yes. Definitely think about think of a just simple topic you want to talk about. Just keep it very simple. Type it in on Facebook or Instagram, and then hit the live button and just start talking. I know it sounds like
very technical.
I know it sounds like very technical, and I could walk you through the very specific steps, but I think we all definitely know how to go live. Yeah. But there's, like, the excuses kick in. And we're like, I don't know how to do it. It's like, we know technically usually how to do it. It's just a matter of doing it and having like maybe a set time or just knowing what to say. And usually know what to say is like, you start with sharing his story from the day. Like, in fact, we will wrap this up and I'll probably go live and talk about our experience from the podcast, And so I just think is just doing our best, and like no one can ultimately like force you to do anything. And you definitely need to give yourself permission. But usually it gets easier as you actually own your own story, like own what you want. Like if you truly want to be noticed and recognized as an expert and to and grow that influence and make more money, then you have to publish. Like there's no other way about it, but you have to publish to actually be noticed. So
yeah. One thing that I've started to do is I have a little like to-do list in our teamwork projects. And I have one that's just called film. And I will now, like, if I come up with a topic while I am not driving, because, I'll wait till I'm parked. But, throughout the day, I'm like, oh, this would be a really cool, just like short video to shoot, selfie style or whatever. I'll just start throwing them in there, because I'm not going to go, like, if I have a bunch of ideas in one day, I'm not going to go live 6 times, because I don't need to annoy however many people see my stuff on Facebook. But at least now it's like giving me some sort of framework to work through the week or for the next couple of weeks. I know that there's content that I want to create, and I don't have to like come up with it on the spot. Or even if like it's a day where I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know what to film, then you can go to that list and be like, okay, well, these are the things that I knew I wanted to talk about at one point, but just making sure that you are documenting it in some capacity so you don't forget, because it'll be like and then 90,000 things will happen and then I'll forget about it completely. But that's been something that has been kind of cool that I've been doing, at least to make sure that there's at least something to record whenever I do it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not filming every day. I should, I'm not.
That's a great plan. That's so good though, because like then you're gonna have those days where you're super creative and have tons of ideas, and the other days you're like, I don't want to talk to anyone. But yeah, no, like that's a good way to like have kind of a bank of ideas.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I know we are getting to time. I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to give the folks who are listening or watching some sort of implementable thing that they can do in the next 48 hours without a team of people or tens of thousands of dollars of gear. So go ahead. What can people do that puts them a next step ahead than they are today?
That is such a great question. And we basically have already said this in our conversation.
We said a lot of it. I get it.
Yeah. And I would say publish your first version or your next version of your origin story. And simply go to Facebook Live, open it up, see yourself on your phone screen, type in my origin story ... or some kind of sexier hook than that. And just talk about what has led you to the point you are now and where you're going, and just talk about like why you do what you do in your business, and just kind of navigate that and just start there. You don't prepare too many thoughts. Don't get overwhelmed with like planning overload, and just go live and publish your story.
Just do it. Hit that button.
Just do it. I know, easier said than done, but yeah, like implement that now. And the more you do that, the more you practice it, the easier it will be to talk about those things.
Awesome. Right on. Well, Dallin, how can people check out what you're doing via social or whatever networks it is that they can find you?
Yes. So to learn more about me, you can go to originstoryvideo.com. We mentioned a lot about the origin story side of things. That's a great place to learn more. And then DallinNead.com is the hub of everything I'm up to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dallin. This has been fun. It's fun to talk to video producers. I get all nerdy and geeky, so we're going to spare everybody from the rest of that. But
yeah.
I'm sure we'll continue on later. But awesome. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we will see you, or, you will listen to us. I don't know. There's all these different formats now because we repurpose. Next week. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Content Coalition. Now, whether you're listening or watching, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and to whatever platform you're listening to it on, because you're not going to want to miss out on the incredible things that I'm learning with these amazing content marketing pros. So make sure you subscribe, and we will talk to you next week.